Dude, do you really honestly want the answer to your question?
As a conservative from the great state of Texas, I am deeply concerned because every time I use the Tic Tac application, I am served nothing but dancing, homosexuals, fluffers, and drag queens. And I'd like you to explain right now how algorithms work.
What's a fluffer?
You don't want to know. That's something you
For
need
him
to.
to bring that up, he should know.
That's
What
something
is a
that you.
fluffer?
That's something that you need to look up on your own time. That's not something we're going to remotely discuss on this show. Um, dude, do you really want to know the answer to that question? Because no, you really don't want to know the answer to that show. You definitely don't want to go and the algorithm. Can you explain to me how the algorithm works?
I don't know what your search history is like.
Bro, either you or somebody that's using your device. Lord, poor Tracy trying to get through.
Oh, I know her pain. I know her pain.
Hello,
He's on the phone
everybody.
now.
Yep, I'm on the phone now.
Oh God, bless your heart.
I don't know
I
what
ain't gonna laugh
happened.
at you. Thank you, Tracy, for coming back.
My
Mhm.
internet connection
Mean
just
old
stopped.
Marlon.
Yeah, that's a good algorithm. Is it?
Analogy.
Analogy, not
Oh,
algorithm.
God. Okay, it's late. Forgive me. There's a certain point that someone becomes responsible for their own bigotry, even if it's taught to them growing up. Parker, yes and no.
Hmm?
I'm going to explain it to you. We are on the outside looking in to. Really, Tracy?
I'm trying to get this right.
Because that wasn't it. I have sat here and said beyond a shadow of a doubt, people who have grown up and raised in and died in small time rural America where they have no access to the outside world whatsoever, nor do they want to. Honestly, it literally is what it is. Diaz, you can shake your head all you want to because I got proof of it when I see so many people who have grown up in small time America who did grow up a certain way and then they go to colleges outside of their little small town. And they realize it is a freaking Tracy, you're beautiful.
What I do now? Put the camera up there so I don't have to keep moving.
When they go out of small time America and they go to colleges where is they experience things that they say they have never experienced before. They have never known a black person a freaking day in their life until they went out into the bigger world. I ain't gonna say the real world, but that's effed up. To a
No,
bigger
I
world.
agree with you.
Um,
I agree with you, but where I was concerned was you said that because I think what Parker is basically saying the same thing you just said, but you were saying that they're not up to a certain point they're not responsible.
are you responsible for something that you quite frankly never experienced? Ever?
It depends on what it is.
I know.
I didn't experience anybody kicking puppies, but I know you're not supposed to kick puppies.
Wait a minute. Did somebody bring up did somebody bring up the I didn't say did you see it, but you did know about it.
Hmm?
You don't dog fighting is wrong. You don't dogs fighting together is wrong. Unless you grew up in a society where all you saw was freaking
Is it?
dog fighting and you thought it was wrong.
Dog fighting is wrong, Theus.
Dog fighting is wrong.
Like putting bets on dogs and making
No,
them
not
fight
just putting bets on dogs, encouraging your dogs to fight.
or
So let me be very clear. I do not advocate for dog fighting in any way, shape, form, or fashion. The reason why I just said is similar to the point Marlon is making. If you grow up in a community where people don't come in, they only go out, okay?
Yeah.
And in that community, you're taught racism, you're taught bigotry, you're taught xenophobia. And so it's just a normal thing in your world. And then, for whatever reason, you start to interact with the wider world. And you run headlong into the stuff that you were taught is normal,
And
is
now,
actually antisocial
and
and a problem.
now the decision is yours.
But
Now it would be.
where I was finding a distinction, and I'm probably clumsy in my words, and I apologize for it, is where I misunderstood you. Because to me, what Parker was saying was there's a point where you are responsible for this thing. And I'm curious where that point is for you. For me, I made an arbitrary line of age 25. I don't know why I made it at age 25, but that's an arbitrary line I made. Right? Because by then in my brain, even if you were taught that dumbass shit as a child, first of all, unless you were taught that dumbass shit as a child and you never got to watch TV, which is possible because a lot of these closed off communities, you go to church, you go to school, you come home. You go to church, you go to school, you come home. And then your church is your school. So it's like, right? Mm-hmm. They keep you very, very, very tightly wound so the outside world can't get to you, right? So then the first time you start to learn might be around age 18, 19, when things don't add up and you're having to wrestle through things that don't add up. By the time you're 25, though, I have no more excuses for you. Perhaps you still were in a closed-off community and you never got a chance. I don't know. Maybe that's true. But I don't care. By age 25, you get this work. You are an enemy. If that's what your mentality is. I'm not trying to convert you. I want you defeated. And if something bad happens to you, good.
Yeah, let me rephrase what I was saying. Because maybe I misspoke. It is two parts. One, when do you take responsibilities in your actions when you find out that you was brought up in crap? One, if you really realize that you was brought up in crap, but you still fighting to keep the crap, now you're responsible for any and all actions from this point on. Period. That's it. We're done with it. Two, don't get it twisted, because I know people will try to use this. So I'm going to make it perfectly clear. If you grew up in a small, rural, racist, bigot, homophobic, xenophobic America, and you decided you're going to stay there because you really enjoy your racist, bigoted, homophobic, xenophobic America town, now you do take responsibility. So this, in part for me, and I'm just speaking for myself, at 25, he's correct. Because if you decide to stay into that town because it's more comfortable for you, in other words, and I put a caveat to it, because what I'm saying is for the people who have the ability to go out into the real world, and you realize that the real world is a little bigger than what you expect, and you do have a glimpse of what the real world is, and you automatically made the assumption that I'm not going to agree with the real world, so you decide to stay where you at because it's more comfortable to be in this little bigoted little town of yours. Yeah. The only thing I would change is the age, because whatever age you made that decision. Dia said 25. I say 18, 19, 20. If you made that decision because it was more comfortable for you to be in your small little world and actually go and explore, you've made that decision. That was your decision. You're grown. Remember, you're grown. You're grown. You made that decision. What I was pointing towards is I cannot dictate 16, 17, 18 people who grew up in a society like that since the age of understanding anything that's going around to them and make them the enemy. Because I can't sit here and tell you, if I look at the hood and at the hood, this is how you was brought up. This is the world that you was in. If you was brought up in the mountains and this is the mountain life and this is how you was brought up, I can't sit here and tell you, oh my God, how could you not understand? Because I wasn't brought up that way. It just dawned on me about a story.
I get it.
A long time ago.
I misunderstood. I apologize.
No, because a lot of people didn't understand this. It's the equivalent of, I went to Maryland one time and somebody literally looked at me and go, "Ooh, you got a country accent. Ha, ha, ha." And I just looked at him a bit because I grew up in the country. What accent did you think I was going to have? Like, did you think I was going to have yours? It's where you was brought up. What I agree with you, Theus, is, so what I think I agree with you, or I'm going around in a circle because it's late. Once you have an understanding of the outside world and you still decide upon yourself to stay in your comfort zone instead of expanding and learning and growing, that is your decision. And you do become.
Well, I think but that's where I think, and this is clumsy because I know I'm not making my point well. But thank you for clarifying, because I did misunderstand you, and I apologize for jumping further out. But
by the way, before you say anything, OMG, I just looked up Fluffer. Yeah. You're gonna have to look that up.
Wait a minute.
I ain't looking. I'm just going.
Don't, Tracy.
Yeah,
Tracy.
No, Tracy. No.
Please don't.
No.
You know I am, because you just told me not to. I wouldn't.
It has to do with making porn.
There's no way of actually saying it. It actually has something to do with.
Could you spell it so I can Google it?
It literally.
It's just.
Honey, it's the people that keep people aroused for porn.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Anna. See, that's all
I thought they
had to
just
say.
took pills.
No, they have people.
Oh, so it's the understudies. Okay.
Mm.
All you're going to say.
Okay.
You got the star, and then you got the people who have to keep helping you rehearse.
You people
be ready for when
you're
it's
gonna
your
get
turn.
me kicked off the freaking air. What is it?
I didn't say nothing.
You didn't say something. I want to get
the
off
stuff I'm saying is
this is an adult show, Marlon.
And
it's
the stuff
like
I'm saying is
children
more coded than what you
Sunday
were saying.
morning watching this, they're asleep.
Let me put it to you this way, then. Okay, no, it's not the understudy. This
it's
is
their job.
I just
literally their job. That's all they do. That's what they get paid to do. They will never ever be on film.
In front of the camera.
That's it.
Okay, well, anyway.
Look on
anyway.
That's where I just went.
Thanks, Mickey.
Anyway, it's just wonderful to know that there are so many different ways in America to earn a living. So
I will definitely be cutting this part out on the replay. There is and then Theus is gonna come and say something so freaking damn awesome and philosophical that I wouldn't know how to actually cut it out. So yeah.
I don't know why you would want to cut it out. We're just talking about, the modern
But
ingenuity of
I do have to
American.
admit,
You
but I
know,
do have to admit one thing. So I may take back what I've said because I do have to admit that everything that I've said kind of makes it seem like it's undesirable, when it's kind of funny that in America, where everybody wants to get rid of pornography and everybody wants to get rid of strippers without the realization that this industry stays in business because of males in America.
hey, no, stop now. Yes,
Dude,
we
if
are
you
the
think
number
that,
one
if you
consumer,
think that, if
but
you,
women
yeah, and
watch
look at
a
the
lot
money
of porn.
and look at the
We
money.
all watch porn. Come
No,
on.
we don't all watch
All
porn.
the toys, them toys made from
No,
ladies.
wait a minute.
We
We
do
on
Not
not all
every
two,
watch
we on
woman.
porn.
We're
two
just
different
saying
things.
I
it's not
We
a
on two
male
different things.
exclusive thing.
When it comes
exactly.
to porn, it is a male dominated thing. When it comes to toys, that is a female dominated thing. It is totally two different things.
And I also want to make sure this is very clear. You are being far more upfront and graphic than the rest of us. We are using coded language. You keep just using the word. Just use the word.
Gotta open the door. So
But anyway,
yeah.
talking about
Hey.
so that you have fun splicing things. So about the people who grow up in the Eastern in East Nowhere. I just want people. It's just the problem I have that I wrestle against is that even in areas that don't have good internet, they have cell phones, which means they have cell signals, which means they have internet. So aside from that small group that has no access to outside information, which is a very, very small group in America,
Yeah.
I just can't understand why we are so obsessed with giving people the benefit of the doubt of saying, well, they came from this little community, and because they're from this community, they just don't know any better. So they didn't blah, blah, blah. No. You may have never interacted with a person of another ethnic group. Because like I was watching videos today, and they were like, all white towns in Ohio and all white towns in Indiana, like they were doing that. It was like it was some stuff like that. And we're talking about demographics of where the town population is like 1,200, 1,500, and it's 98, 99% white.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Mhm.
yeah, you could be from those communities, and there ain't nobody who don't look like you around you. That's fine. You got TV, you got internet.
Which you assume is a wide open space for everybody, though.
Now I'm not making any assumptions. Well, I am making some assumptions, but I'm not making those assumptions. I am saying you have TV and you have internet. Okay? So you can't, in this day and age, now I may go back 40 years, we make a different argument.
Yeah.
40 years had only been the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go back 40 years and you might be able to make this argument.
You can put
But
it in
today,
the 80s. We didn't have Jack in the 80s. We didn't have internet, cell phones, or any of that stuff.
We did too.
That's why I said you can go back to the 80s, maybe.
Big days that was bigger than your head.
It went like this.
That was the 80s?
But not
was the
the
90s.
internet yet. That was 1995.
That wasn't
Yeah.
the 80s.
But even in the 80s, you didn't have internet, but you had music videos and you had TV channels and you had all this stuff. So it's like I'm just so what this all comes back to me. It might be my bias talking here, but it's like it's still censoring whiteness. It's still trying to find a way to coddle this group that you just don't expect as much from them. That is wrong. It's insulting to us and it's insulting to them. It's just not right. Just because you didn't grow up around other people, you might be ignorant to some things, right? You may be ignorant to social cues and, you can be ignorant to some stuff, right? And you're going to say dumb things. You're going to have dumb beliefs. You're going to have all that stuff. But things like racism, one, it has to be taught to you. It has to be taught.
Mm-hmm.
2, it has to be reinforced. And 3, you have to willingly just ignore everything else. So if you are wandering around, you're 19 years old.
You should have some internal compass that says, Yeah.
It is
You might not get it right, but something should kick in.
Yeah.
I get that, but I understand that there is a certain level, and let me finish because I know what I'm saying sounds like a bunch of crap, and I'm giving them a chance to get off, and I'm not. There is, to me, a certain level of racism. You hanging black people is like the creme de la creme of it, and I couldn't even find a way to help you out to figure out why you thought that was okay. Killing is killing. If you even want to boil it down to the purest form, hey, killing is killing. Whether you think that was
No,
okay
it's
or
not.
not,
Killing isn't killing.
I'm not even going to get into that one.
There's some levels to that.
Other than self-defense?
Yeah, I mean, there's accidental homicide.
You know, that's getting deeper. I'm literally
Still
talking about
killing.
I'm literally just talking about they hanging you because of the color of your skin.
Oh, because like remember, I don't have a problem. I think it's okay with people to be racist. I think if you're a racist, you should be able to be racist. I'm just saying, keep that shit in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that it's unfair to tell someone that they can't hate black people. You can hate me for being black. That's your right. I do that. That's fine. It's when you take your hate and weaponize it to harm someone.
And I know exactly where he was going with it. If you want to be a racist individual who spew racism, knock yourself out. As long as your racism doesn't affect my life.
Right. Like if I overhear a white guy, because it's always black and white conversation, right? I overhear a white guy at his table at a restaurant say the N-word to his friends or whoever's at his table, and none of them are black. Okay? But he uses those words. I'm gonna be offended because I hate that word. That word is a word of violence to me. But he's not targeting it at an individual. He's not saying it to the waiter. He's not saying it to the people at the table next to him. He's just being ignorant and racist. I do not think that I should then be able, that I should not to be able, but I don't think that I should then take a picture of this man, put it on social media, and say, do you know this man? Because he said the N-word 15 times while I'm trying to eat dinner, and now he didn't get fired. He gets fired from his job because his job doesn't want to be hiring a racist. That's wrong. Let that man be racist.
Totally disagree. Absolutely 100% totally disagree. And you already know that I disagree on that. I totally disagree. If you have the ability to use the N-word out in public, I don't give a rat's ass if you with Mother Teresa. If you have the ability to say that word out loud with your friends, with your co-workers, with anybody else, and you are comfortable and calm and fine with doing that, you deserve the consequences of it. Because I don't know what your job is. Your job may be.
But now you're making assumptions. Now you're digging into the hypothetical.
I don't
and
care.
I didn't say that he was yelling it. He's just saying it. And bye, Tracy.
Oh, you go.
But
Tracy,
no,
what I'm saying is,
Tracy had a question. I'm sorry. Tracy wanted to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Y'all do realize we said no more 3-hour shows, right?
Yeah, but this is good.
So my point, though.
Like,
okay.
All right, so I'll leave it at this. My
If you
point
need to go
is,
to bed, honey, go to bed.
Yeah, I'm gonna change the rules and regulations on one thing. If anybody wants to jump off, please do so. Please do not think that you're obligated to stay on here for the full veracity of our show. Because one, I don't think anybody actually watches our full shows. They actually, and I got proof of this now. They don't watch our full shows, and I understand why. Because I don't.
It's a long time.
I don't.
Hell, it's longer than X-Men.
I know, but two, and most importantly, what people wind up watching is they wound up watching the reruns of the shorter versions of our show, and they watch that religiously, or they're getting to the point of watching it religiously. So if anybody in this panel, if anybody in the group wants to leave, please just do so. Please do not feel that you are obligated to stay for the whole duration. But as long as we're putting out gold and everything else, I feel like I'm obligated to do it. If we get to the point where we're talking about Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and what their child would look like, I think it's time for us to go. And I will pull the plug and just go. So,
well, just to say, unless Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck are transgender, they're not going to be able to have a child biologically anyway, even if you could do a cross-species jump like that. But anyway, my point, though, is
when there's a will, there's a way.
But what I was saying about the racists at the table next to him is I'm not talking about he's yelling it, like he's not being belligerently crazy with it. It's just he says it, and he says it more than a few times. But it's me hearing him, not him actually targeting it. And you're saying that no, that's still fair play. But then what if you flip that around? Because where do we draw the line then? Right? Because this is my problem with the left, the so-called left. They want to police words to the point that they become just as oppressive as the other side. Because the N-word is a word of violence. If I hear it, I'm probably going to react to it, or I'm going to have to do the math in my head to see if it's worth reacting to it. But that's my problem. That's my internal math. What if I'm out with, what if you flip it and it's a table of black people and they're calling some of the derogatory terms for white people? Or somebody else is using derogatory terms for Latinos or for Asians or for the Jewish people, right? These are all words of violence to those communities. Mm-hmm. So are we saying that now, I'm going to use stereotypical names, Jerome, he can get fired from his job because he was talking about saltines? You know what I'm saying? Like there's a line, and I don't know who gets to draw the line. I'm just saying, unless you're weaponizing the word, I just don't think you should get fired for it.
I think I have a problem with one part of what you were saying. I do have a problem with one part of what you're saying. I do feel like you're going out of your way to take a picture of this person, post them on video, and go, "Hey, do anybody know who this person is?" and all this other stuff. It's like, was you offended, or are you looking for cool points now? Because I can't see somebody. But let's flip it a little bit. And let's flip it to the fact that you go out, you're hanging with your friends, they're hanging with their friends, and you just happen to be in the industry. And I'm going to make it a big industry, okay? You ain't never going to, excuse me, everybody. You ain't never going to see this person. It's that big of an industry. You ain't never going to see him. He ain't never going to see you. Somehow you just know that y'all work in the same building, the same company, whatever. Now what do you do? Because I'm going by what you said, Thea, is that as long as your racism doesn't affect other people, you could be a racist. I don't know if this guy's racism is affecting other people. He may be
I agree.
You also may be a supervisor or a manager. So I don't know. I don't know if your racism does affect other people.
I agree. But here's the thing, though. The fact that you don't know is why it needs to stop right there. You see what I'm saying? Like, if a person, because we all hold various views in our hearts, in our minds, and they're not all wholesome, right? I have a lot of frustration towards the overarching white community, but I do not hate white people, right? I love people. I just want people to be nice to each other and not obstruct each other so people can try to do the best for their families. I want white power for white people, black power for black people, Asian power for Asian people. I want all the power to the people, as the Black Panthers taught us, right? So my thing is, I don't want it to be where we hear a snippet or a piece of someone's ill thought out positioning or belief system and then weaponize it against them when they haven't weaponized it themselves. So if you do have someone, like you're saying, and this is a person who's in a position of authority, let's go and say he's a judge. Huh? So now all you can really do is now. Okay, well,
then I gotta throw something in there. Do I know that
Mhm.
though? Do I know that?
no, you don't know.
Okay.
You don't know. You don't know he's a judge. But I'm just saying he could be. Now, the only thing that you could do, well, you can go either way. You do know or you don't know. It doesn't matter. If you do know, right, there's still not a reaction point just yet to me. But it does now warrant, let's bring this to the attention of the right people because of the position this person holds, right? So that you can now look at their decisions and see if you can find those types of biases before you go public with it and destroy this person's career. You're a judge. I heard this. I know you're a judge. What is the mechanism for me to bring this to somebody's attention so we can find out if this bias also manifests in their decision? Currently, I don't think that system really works for us or exists, but that's what it should be. Instead, what we have is, ooh, this person says something racist. And then we just burn down the village, right? One of the things that made me so annoyed, and this is a difference, but it's related, Don Lemon. I ain't a big fan of Don. I had a lot of problems with Don. Don finally came home after Ferguson. All the way up through Ferguson, I don't know what was up with that dude. I guess he didn't think he was black. I don't know what it was. But after Ferguson, Don started becoming a brother again, right? But all along, Don Lemon has been an advocate and an ally for the gay community, the women, black people, white people. Like, Don would go to bat for everybody. First time he said that dumb shit on TV, though. White women turn on his ass so fast, I ain't even seen him. I ain't seen him turn that fast on a motherfucker before. Dropped him cold. Didn't matter what he's done for you in the past, right? Even the gay community was like, right? We don't want that smoke. My point to this is he made a mistake. He said something that wasn't right. Why is it we don't give people the benefit of the doubt to the extent to say, what does your history tell me about you? And if I'm just hearing somebody at a neighboring table say some things, and I use that as the full entirety of who this person is, I'm doing what they did to Don Lemon. I'm deciding that off of this moment, you're all of these things. Sorry. Go ahead, Anna.
I only wanted to add that I never see a time where it's appropriate to put somebody's picture on social media and then let whoever rip into him. It's vigilante, and I'm not for vigilante in any form.
I've looked at so many.
There's levels for me.
For a short period of time,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't last very long. And this is me. And it's sports related, whatever, entertainment related, everything else. Because it happened one time before that somebody said something that's racist or homophobic when they was 15 or 16 years old, and now they are professional. What XYZ sport? They're professional in it. And somebody goes back into their Twitter page and they find something they said. I mean, the person is like 25, 30 years old. They go back 15 years when he was 15, 16 years old and find some little racist, homophobic statement that he made. And the person has to sit there and go back on Twitter and go, look, I was young, I was naive and everything else. And I know everybody picks on me about wrestling. I get it, but it is a wrestling.
Nobody picked on you about wrestling. You like your athletics soap opera. It's okay.
Tracy picks on me about it a lot. But it was a wrestler who I saw him. I looked at him. I ain't gonna say grew up with him because he's way younger than me. But I was watching his videos that he put out every day. And I saw how he acted and I saw how he carried himself and things like that. And there was a post that he did years ago before I even discovered him. I don't even think he even started doing YouTube videos before that. I don't even think he was even close to it. And he did say something that was derogatory towards a female wrestler. And he had to go on and I apologize and everything else and got suspended and blah 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 and everything else. And I'm like, I really do not think it. Theas, you know how I feel about internet vigilante. When we was talking about oh god, what's that comedian's name?
But Chris Rock.
No,
Dave Chappelle.
Dave
Dave,
Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, right. When Dave Chappelle made that thing that no, I'm not gonna sit here and agree with you having these homes for poor people. And everybody jumped on this dude before even understanding what the whole damn story was. And what did I say what was going to happen afterwards? You're not going to come on and apologize, and you can pretend that your ass didn't even say nothing.
Mhm.
You're just going to move on to the next story. No, I don't like internet vandalism because it's not realistic. You go by emotions, which you yourself has hated for the longest time. Do not use emotion.
I'm just saying, don't lead with emotion.
Well,
But I'm big on emotion.
Everybody who does
'Cause, like,
internet vandalism,
whenever I think
leads with
about-
emotion.
When I think of internet vigilanteism, right? Y'all remember, young black male walking through the neighborhood, nice subdivision area where he lived, and that military sergeant, I think he was an army sergeant, that was sitting there accosting him on the sidewalk,
Yeah,
threatening him,
I
trying to
agree
get him
with
to
that.
react just so he could hurt him.
I agree with that.
That fool need to be on the internet.
And I
Okay.
agree with
So-
actions. I agree with actions.
He
that's
didn't touch him. He didn't
Yeah.
touch him. But it was very clear what he was doing, right?
Yeah.
That type of stuff, I don't have a problem with that. But I think there's just there's levels to everything. There's levels to everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know,
Mhm.
but yeah, but I'm just, I just think that in general social things, people should be given a little bit more grace, even when you don't agree with them. So, like, I socially, personally condemn Republicans and conservatives and Trumpism. I do, but I'm using historical reference and context as to why I feel the way I feel, and I would be more than happy to have a conversation with and stand for everything that I'm saying. And if I'm off on a particular point, I've shown why I will apologize and say, "Oh, I didn't think of it that way," or what have you. I'm good with that. But what I'm not okay with is just some random guy or gal has a bad moment and that becomes their entire identity. I don't like that. I don't like that because people are complicated creatures. And that snippet is just, I don't know, because it feels good to go after a racist. It feels good to go after the guy who runs around saying and is yelling at people at the abortion clinic and it feels good to go after those people. I get it, but it doesn't feel so good when it's your side.
I do agree with one part, because even forgive me or don't. You should know me by now. Even a cracker statement is like cringy to me now.
Yeah, I won't use that word.
I don't want that word. One, there's never, ever, 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 ever going to be a word worse than the N word. The C word is bad. We get it. I don't want to use it because I can always use my insults are good enough that I can look at an individual and use my insults towards that individual. I don't need to put everybody in the same boat and it's them. No, I'm going to point you out as you, because that's why I said I don't want anybody to use universal things when I say them or they or them people or everything else. You know I'm talking about you. If you want to sit here and play this stupid game of, well, I never then why are you saying something? Because I didn't, then apparently I'm not talking about you. So why are you saying anything? Or you did say something and you're trying to get off your little guilt trip, which I'm not going to let you. This is the wrong show. You
I
may
use
want to go.
generalities.
It is. I'm not doing. I'm not.
No, I'm saying I use generalities and sweeping statements. I use them sometimes, but I follow up with what I mean when I say it.
Yeah,
But
and
use them.
I try to do that. I try to use when I say them people, and then I will actually put a definition of what them people it is that I'm talking about. I don't ever say them, you people, blah blah blah, and everything else. Okay, Foxy's videos of the week. No, I literally sit here and tell you who you people that I am talking about.
Mhm.
So, but you know, there are some people who all I heard was you people. I know that's all you heard, but I gave you the definition of the you people that I was talking about. So, if you want to
Which goes into why I say people should be given a little bit more grace. You may find that you hate them for a whole lot more
Mhm.
if you like when
yeah,
I was in college, someone said to me, a young guy stopped me. He was older than me. I was like freshman. And he was like, why? He said, why should I hate you for the color of your skin when if I just get to know you, I can hate you for so much more. Right. And that has always stayed with me. So in the context of what we're talking about, why should I decide that this person is he's a Klansman, he just ain't got his hood on because he said the N-word.
Mhm.
He might not be. He just might be one of them people who just talks loose, right? Because I know brothers who will drop not the N-word because there's a different connotation, even though I can't stand it, but they'll drop the negative connotations for women, for gay people,
Yep.
Mhm.
for white people, right?
Mhm.
None of the words are on parallel with the N-word. But that's because I'm a black person saying this. So to me, none of the words are on parallel with the N-word. But if I was a Jewish person, like the European Jewish person whose family died in the Holocaust, there's a couple words
Yeah.
hit them just as hard